how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's play some Disco Elysium, shall we? Well, it's the boat that's more expensive than my life. And let's talk to the man on the boat. Oh, it's a woman.
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Okay.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce.
Hi, Joyce. She extends her hand in greeting.
Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour.
Ah.
You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
So, I think Kim was saying we'd meet this lady sooner or later. She's the representative of the wealthy folk. Joyce L., what's the L stand for?
Leighton, my maiden name.
Leighton. Her bony hand dangles from the sleeve of her oversized raincoat. What gave us away?
Nothing, honestly, I've said it to every drunk in town, and you're the first one who's responded.
Oh, no.
Relax. She meant it in jest.
Shake her hand.
I'm glad to see you here.
Her grip is tight and
I was
cold.
dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
Okay.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
Oh, no.
There's a trace of irony in his voice. Mischief, even. The lieutenant is hatching some scheme.
Uh-oh, he's hatching a scheme.
He's trying to signal something. He wants you to play up your condition.
Ah, okay. So he's not trying to get one over on me. He wants to work with me.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery.
Thanks.
In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation.
I bet.
And the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
Great. You're on a boat.
Why, yes I am.
Does she have a name?
The boat? No. It is called Cor de Lady 19 because that's the type of sloop it is.
Okay, but what kind of boat is it?
It's a pleasure craft, a 19 pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing. Though these days I mainly use it for business.
How do you like it?
My sloop? I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips, baby.
The eel's hips, yep.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating.
Thanks, Kim.
I really do, the lieutenant thinks. Is she thrown off yet? He's looking at the woman, assessing her.
Not a lot of people on boats, are there?
Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around?
Wait, we're on an archipelago?
Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou.
Caillou? I thought we were in Revachol.
We are. And the city of Revachol is on the island of Le Caillou.
Still, I haven't seen anyone else that set sail on a boat around here. I'm just gonna, absolutely annihilate this lady with ridiculous questions because Kim wanted me to.
I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the greater Revachol industrial harbor. It's not a toy.
Yeah, it's not a toy.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands.
I see.
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich.
Okay, that's what I need to do? Alright, Rhetoric. Wait. How am I gonna say, yes, I do? What is this even a response to? Alright.
You have the guns and the ammo.
Oh no, I'm talking to
Take
Rhetoric,
this
not to her.
classy
Okay.
fiend down.
This... I don't know what that word means. Let's talk about the economics of this boat you're on.
Oh my, the E word. You mean to say that it's a symbol of conspicuous consumption? That I'm a member of the ruling class?
Let's see. Yes, exactly. Precisamundo. Class wartime, baby. No, it's a symbol of our subjugation to foreign capital. The bad kind of capital. I'll just say this.
Detective, may I remind you that Mrs. Messier is a professional negotiator.
Oh, I got biggest communism builder achievement. He doesn't think you'll like her in combat.
And what does that say? Does it say docking reserved for residents of Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A?
Oh, she's about to destroy me.
33A? This old proletarian haunt here. As I said, plenty of people drive boats, of all social strata.
It's the Eel's Heels +1. Know about the revolution +1. We could win this. We did it.
Synapses flesh.
Your synapses flash. This house was built before the revolution. Funny, I don't see any other Eel's Heels around.
Okay, it is anti-centennial.
The people who live here now lead a different lifestyle, if you know what I mean.
I assure you, they drove quite a hard bargain for this space. But you're right. I am a bourgeois woman, and this is my fast, lightweight, interminably bourgeois boat.
All right, here we go.
There is no shame in her voice. A touch of sadness, yes, but no shame.
Do you have a license?
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft operator.
Uh-huh.
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain, white as the boat's hull as she smiles.
Wow.
Her nonchalance might be related to something called the Wayfarer Act, a law that says she doesn't need a license. Sly fox, you're not aggressive enough to harass her further on this.
Huh. Okay, I think I have a handle on this boat thing.
Good.
Tell me about Wild Pines. What do you do?
What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole.
Okay,
It's a giant undertaking.
I see.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
So what do they do?
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things.
Uh-huh.
And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
Okay, so airships. So the cargo belt that we found around the guy's neck was an air shipping container thing. So it does have to do with the Wild Pines in some capacity. I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, so there's the docking company here, and they're on strike. And she represents, what, the ownership of that particular docking company, and she's come to negotiate terms with the rich ruling owners and the workers.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain.
Who are the other Indo tribes?
Saint-Baptiste, ELYSIUM, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star.
So Saint-Baptiste is the people who make the medicine. I don't know who LUM is, and Brightest Star, no idea. You're in good company, it
Why,
seems.
thank you.
She does not register the real meaning of the remark. How much money does Wild Pines have?
I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue.
That's it? I thought Wild Pines was supposed to be big time.
And to think, there are years when the group books losses in the billions.
Wow. A wave hits the sloop. She grasps the mainstay for
Warpines
balance.
employ 72,000 people, all of whom have families that depend on their salaries. It is a tremendous responsibility.
Where does Wild Pines get all these
They
billions?
started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago.
I see.
When Pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lormantang on behalf of the suzerain.
Good.
Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it.
What kind of apricots are we talking about? It probably helps to start out with a royal monopoly.
You know more than you let on. Certainly it helped, but most of the original Indo tribes have failed or been absorbed. To survive, Wild Pines had to grow and adapt. No suzerain did that.
What does such a huge system want with a place like this?
You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo?
8% of all cargo in the world? That's quite the endeavor indeed.
There are no minor cogs in the system. Each terminal must be accounted for, lest the entire system break. Every hiccup in such a system means thousands lose their jobs, the world over. I'm here to assure that doesn't happen.
Alright, so she wants to keep the operation
With
going.
your help, hopefully, says her warm tone.
What can you tell me about the strike?
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets.
Wait, what if I want to hear about trade secrets?
First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade in Aliments. That gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus.
An octopus? I will slay it.
Good luck is only kept in place by the vested interests of half the civilized world, including your own.
What the ma'am means is that the Emergencies Act and the RCN both get their authority from the coalition government.
You'd be shooting yourself in the foot, in other words.
Leave it alone.
But I am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike.
What is your role in this precisely?
I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator.
I see.
In practice, I'm a grocery clerk.
Groceries.
I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
Ah,
And how are the talks going?
how are they?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place.
So the lynching has stopped talks in the strike. Now we're getting down to something very, very interesting.
Now they won't even let me into the harbour.
Uh-huh.
There's a 2-meter 20 racist behemoth blocking the gates.
Tell me about this behemoth.
What can I say? The union employs a giant covered in tattoos.
Covered in tattoos.
A racist giant. I guess that's part of their big tent organization now.
Yeah, so they've got a racist giant. We saw him. He looks formidable. And the tattoos are union related. So what, one theory would be that the guy was lynched and hung because he was siding with Wild Pines over the workers, and they found out, like, that he was against them, or, Wild Pines did this and made it look like it was the workers lynching so that they could disrupt the negotiations intentionally. I don't know. How are the talks going before the lynching?
Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
Okay.
And when did you first arrive?
Uh-huh.
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
I see.
But the strike began in December.
So she arrived in the middle of February and the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
Huh.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
All right, so they got overtime pay and a medical plan, which seem like just, basic human rights. So now they're asking for what? Something aggressive? A decent wage, maybe?
Ludicrous even. It's meant.
What happened to this Gaumont?
Mr. Clare told him to, how did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see.
Not cool.
Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union.
All right, so something has changed. What are their demands?
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes, every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
I like
Then
it.
you might also like their other slogan. Demand democracy.
Not hard communist enough for me.
Personally, I agree. It lacks the pizzazzo of every worker a member of the board.
What exactly do they mean by it, though? What's the demand?
It's quite simple, you see. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about what? About anything, really, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal.
Okay.
Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
So they want to get to vote on every single thing that Wild Pines
An
does.
opening gambit, surely.
Sounds like an opening gambit.
So I hoped. But this type of opening is usually followed by a more reasonable offer. I have yet to hear one. Just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again.
Okay.
And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Yep.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
Mm-hmm.
I first heard it from the boyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
Yes. We know this man.
This checks out.
It does.
No, wait. The chief negotiator heard it from a man at the gates. Surely the Wild Pines Group has more effective channels of information. After all, 2,200 people are on strike.
Interesting.
This is a big deal for them.
All right, so my logic, because it's immense, passed this. And so I figured out that, wait, this doesn't... She's lying to me. The chief negotiator heard it at the gates. No, she heard it from someone else. The scabs at the gate, did you put them there?
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock, come to plead for work where the union refuses to? If they were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not right now, at least.
I see.
It's implied she's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
Oh, okay. Tell me about the union boss, Mr. Clare.
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first.
Okay.
She's being sarcastic. Don't take her performance literally.
That's not what you really think, right?
Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
Is he that bad?
He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar.
Wait, there are two of them?
Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye.
Huh.
He also talks exactly like Everard does. And when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues.
What about the union itself outside the Brothers Clare?
The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that.
Okay.
Organised labour at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The Brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
Wow. Okay, so it turned from a good, organized union into organized crime.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is...
An effective advocate for the rights of local working men, a giant leech, basically a socialist mob. I mean, it's like, I like that they're getting workers' rights, but I don't really have enough information to know. I need to talk to everybody, see how their lives are impacted by this, but I'm going to trust Kim and the fact that they're organized crime and say this.
Thank you for being candid. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate for 2 decades. However much you feed the wolf always hungers.
One more thing. You said something happened in the elections?
I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the union. She disappeared.
What?
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore. Or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
Eerie.
Downright haunting, if you ask me. The Wild Pines suspected foul play, but what could they do? It was a union matter.
Huh.
The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Okay.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
That's all I need. Let's change
Of
the topic.
How else can I help?
What can you tell me about the lynching?
Quite a few things, I'm afraid.
She falls silent for a moment, contemplating something.
The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves.
Oh no, I don't know
I
my
am
name.
Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57.
Uh-huh.
And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
How curious. Why is that, detective?
Uh-oh.
Awkwardness washes over the conversation. The woman doesn't like this turn of events.
Remember when my partner told you I'd recently suffered from an unusual medical episode? My lost badge is related to it. And then I make this expression. And she can just see this face with that expression and understand what's going on.
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode?
I don't know how it's possible. After a night of heavy drinking, I lost all memory of my life and the world.
Oh dear. Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia. I don't even know how to respond.
Neither do I.
I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such a condition.
Neither can I.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Yeah.
Of course, I sympathize. But I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
I need the badge.
She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
Let's see. How do I negotiate my way out of this?
Feelings will guide the way.
But madam, I didn't do it. I need to know about this lynching. It's very important to me. It's the case I'm
I assure
solving.
you, it is no small matter for me either. We all share the responsibility for disarming this situation. I hope you have a badge for me as soon as possible.
Aww. I'm going for the pathos approach, the emotion. You don't understand. It's not like a side case for me. This is my main thing. Or I can say, you have so much else. I have only this. Spread your hands. This is the entirety of my existence.
She's silent. The wind flaps the sail above her.
This boat, for example, and a home somewhere. I only have this
Officer.
case. Aw, I shouldn't have done this. My morale. This case is what I will be known by.
You know, I don't mean to sound cold, but if you want something, you have to give something back. More than just guilt.
Okay.
You're doing it. Despite your own best efforts, you're still getting in. Somehow.
I'll be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something tangible.
Like what?
The Union is conducting drug trade out of the harbour. It's an open secret in Martinez. Surely it must not come as a complete surprise to the RCM either. Perhaps it's time to look into it.
Okay, so they want me to look into drug trade on the Union. I feel bad getting buddy-buddy with, you know, the owners and destabilizing the Union's position, you know, getting dirt so that they have leverage against the Union and take rights away from the workers. But then again, it's a drug trade, so that's not acceptable. I used a morale healer, by the way, just because I didn't want to go to 0 morale. I don't know what happens, but it doesn't... I bet it's not good.
Or you can find your badge, which honestly seems like a lost cause.
Alright, so I can find my badge or
Detective,
dig up the
a
drugs.
word in private before we continue.
Excuse me for a moment. What do you want to say, Kim? This is not going
This is
quite
not
as I
going
hoped.
quite as I hoped it would, Detective.
How did you hope it would go?
Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and you know, not volunteer us to be her henchman.
Really? I thought it was going so well.
This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along,
Uh-oh.
or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands.
Yeah, about the drugs.
He doesn't let it show. But there is a limit to how much the consequences of your unprofessional behavior can cost the investigation.
Okay, I gotta get it together.
Maybe this is all her plan. She might have heard about you.
We could just, you know, find my badge.
Oh, that would be fantastic, but do we have the time? The world is large and your badge is 8 by 6 centimeters.
The situation might have changed drastically by the time you locate it. Time is of the essence.
I
You
see.
could request a new one from the station, but that would literally take months.
The company must have more ears on the ground. She could have known about my condition.
I wouldn't go that far. Her reaction did come off as sincere to me. I think she's just quick to adapt. She's a professional, after all.
What do you propose? That we don't investigate the drug trafficking?
No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we are siding with the Union, or that we are on their take. We'd never hear the end of it. What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate, briefly. But do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done and demand for her information on the lynching.
I'm sorry for putting us in this situation. I'll handle it.
I'm sure you will, Detective.
Let's get back to her then. He is not happy. I've botched this up pretty badly. Do you know
You're
something...
back. Good.
Oh,
What can I help you with?
do you know something about these tattoos?
That's the man who was killed.
She almost
I'm
takes the
afraid this
photo.
is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question.
Why? How is you looking at the photo tied to the
Better
lynching?
not tie the forestay to the backstay on this. I hope there is something else I can help you with.
She wants to answer the question. Protocol keeps her from it.
You seem rich. Can I have some money? I love how I can literally ask everybody in the game for money. It's just so ridiculous. You seem smart. I need someone to give me a lowdown on this reality we're in.
This reality?
She pulls her hood closer around her neck.
Yes, reality is your side case.
It is.
An experimental side case.
It's related to that medical episode. I have trouble remembering even the most basic terms of reality.
Ah, yes. The episode. Sounds like an acute case of encephalopathy, now that I think of it.
Okay.
Don't be phased, madame. He functions perfectly well. He only needs a lowdown on all of reality.
Yeah, that's all I need.
We may be here a while then. Ask away, officer. I'll help however I can.
Okay.
All right, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
Wow. Wow. Where are we?
We're in Martinez, baby.
Oh boy. Baby?
A casual term of endearment popular among the 50-plus crowd. It's a disco holdover, pay it no heed.
I'm in a disco holdover myself.
Aren't we all?
We are?
She refers to your corresponding ages.
Okay, so we're similar of age. And what is Martinez?
Martinez is a district of Revachol. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbour. North of the 881 and Jamrock.
Okay.
You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. Shelled to smithereens during the Revolution. It has its charms, just not this time of year.
Tell me more about Martinez.
I'm not a good ambassador. I've only been here once before, as a teenager. Not a lot has changed. There are ruins, a terminal, fishing boats, reeds, boys with boxy shoulders. This place used to be a province, a workers' resort before the city swallowed it and the artillery did its work. The reeds are the real star of the show here now. The further down the coast, the wilder it gets.
You mentioned a sea. What sea is this?
It's not really a sea, it's the Bay of Revachol. And the bay feeds into the ocean.
Are we near the ocean?
Yes. We're on an island in an ocean. The world's largest body of water. The Insulindic.
The Insulindic.
Known to the early Revacholians as Les Immensités Bleues, the Blue Immensities.
Okay.
Vast, lukewarm, and unknowable, flowing in and out of sight.
What is the name of this island?
Caillou, as you already know. Imagine a pebble. A smoothed-over pebble amidst a great blue sea, misshapen, cracked. The cracks are the River Esperance. We're in the delta of this river, on the 6th branch, the Martinez distributary.
Good.
It is clear this pebble is of enormous value to her,
It is.
and to humanity at large.
Well, well. All right, everybody. I have a long conversation to continue with this extremely interesting and helpful woman as she gives me a lowdown on reality, which my character does not understand. And I quite frankly don't understand the history, but I think through talking with everyone, I am getting a good understanding of it. I cannot believe how deep and rich the history of this little section is. They've created an entire world in this game with a revolution and a history and regimes and class struggle, complete new geographical features and aspects. It's just fascinating, and I want to learn about it all, quite frankly, but it does take a bit of time, and this episode has already gone on for quite some time. And so I will resume this next time. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. I'm loving this game. It is so interesting and hilarious, and tinged with sadness as well. It's just a very complex, emotional, psychological experience, and I think it's, right now it's one of those games where video games become art for me in a meaningful way, and I really enjoy it. I will check you guys next time. Take care.